Daylight breaks over the ridge. The hounds strike. No crowds, no cameras, just a track and the hounds that bring the story to life. That's what this show's about. Dogs, dirt roads, early mornings, and the people who live it. This is Creekside Chronicles. Hounds, hunting, and heritage. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, houndsman, hunter, and a lifelong student of the outdoors. Here, we chase more than game. We chase knowledge about hounds, hunting, and living the outdoor life the right way. From bear country to back roads, this is where the hunt meets heart, and every story runs a different trail. So pull up your chair by the creek, leash up your best hound, and let's get after it together. Performance starts in the feed. Inukshuk's high-fat content fuels long runs and hard hunts, giving dogs the steady energy they need, while quality protein supports faster recovery after the work is done. That's why I trust Inukshuk dog food. Packed with energy and nutrition dogs need to go further, run harder, and recover stronger. If you want extreme performance, you can look them up at Inukshuk Professional Dog Food or CoreyNutrition.com. Welcome back to a beautiful Wednesday morning. And if you're listening at lunchtime or in the evening, it's a great time of day. And we are just glad to have you here with us. And you know the same. If you've been listening along, you're a part of the Creekside crew. Pull out that chair. I'm going to throw another log on the fire. And we'll get this train wreck started. Now, I was going to wait and finish this episode with the train wreck. But you know how things just kind of consume your mind? Well, that's kind of where I'm at. So we're just going to lay it all out there. We're just going to get this one derailed right off the get-go. So I've got to hunt a couple days in a row. And you know how that goes. You never know what you're in store for, right? So first day, great morning. Everything worked out. Was looking up before 8 o'clock. Had the dogs loaded, headed back to the house by 9. Second day was even a little better. Was looking up before daylight. Had to sit on a log and wait for it to get daylight enough so I could actually see. I had my light and I could see the eyes, but I had to wait. And then on the way out the mountain, struck another one, put down on it. Had a pretty good little run out of it. And it ended up crossing the hardtop. And I seen it come out in the road. So I just started catching the dogs as they came. Why did I do that? I didn't want to go into the area they were headed. Still fighting the humidity, right? Still battling the humidity. And I have shuffled dogs around. So we'll get into that in a minute. So I called them up, loaded up, was headed to the house by 9 o'clock. Now today, lo and behold, today, I don't even know how to describe or put into words the amount of frustration, aggravation, and disappointment all wrapped up into one. So I start out this morning and I put down. I don't know what happened. I have no answers. And I'm not even going to try to figure it out, honestly. Dogs went about 240 yards from the road and pretty much just double back, come back to the truck. All right, load them up, move on. Am I happy? No. No. The morning's young, more opportunities. Let's roll. So I get around the mountain a good ways, and dogs hit. I put them down, and they go off on the south, make a big loop, and get back on and cut across to the north, where I'd rather not be this time of year. But here we are, and 3 dogs got tangled up down there, and I'm like, you know what? Instead of having my whole pack strung out on the north of the mountain, I'm just going to go ahead and catch the back dogs. And I did. I was able to catch them. So the three dogs got over. They were already gone. They was in the north, and I get the back dogs caught up, and they head east. They make a big loop and come right up underneath and come back west. And I mean, I'm standing on top of the mountain. I done drove up and got on top of the mountains listening. And they come underneath me and they're giving good mouth. And they got out the mountain, so I drove out the mountain a little bit, and I got out there, and they kind of balled up, and I thought, well, they're either called or treed. Well, I got out there, and I can hear them, but they're not barking like they were. And after, I don't know, 15 minutes, and that could be give or take, right? I wasn't watching my watch. They kind of bust up. I'm like, well, this isn't good. And my older experienced dog goes out the mountain and drops off, makes a loop. My least experienced dog just kind of, just knocks down he's not moving. Like, he's just kind of staying in that one area. And then my other dog, they're back and forth. And I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, an hour later, we pick up that. I get everybody back, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this again. So I get everybody loaded back up, watered, take on out the mountain again. Hit pretty good this time, and put 3 dogs down. The 3 dogs down that I didn't let go the last time. They go off the south. They make a loop right back over on the north, right in front of me. And I'm like, I'm letting them go. I'm just letting them go. And I'm out the mountain a good ways. Like, I'm not close to where I was at. So they kind of make the same scenario. They go down, they make a loop, they go east, they drop down a contour, and then they turn and they come back west, and I'm listening. And they're calking. They're calking. And I'm like, okay, the dogs aren't in these dogs aren't in the best shape. I'll give them an hour or two, and then, see what happens. Well, almost the identical thing happened that happened on the last drop. So I walk out the top of the mountain, and I'm standing there on top of this huge rock. And I'm looking across the valley to the adjacent mountain. And the valley is fog covered. Like, it's like a blanket covering the valley. And I can literally feel the frustration in my blood pressure. Like, legit. Like, I feel my body heating up, almost like you wrap me up in an electric blanket. And I'm standing there and I'm telling myself, Heath, just gotta have patience. Gotta be patient. And eventually one of the dogs tracks back out. And I go down the truck and I give them some water. Now, I mean, and when I say that they're not just dilly-dallying around, I mean, they were running. I mean, they're gassed. They're on the north. It's steep, it's rocky, it's rough. Like I mean, it's not a good place. And I go back up to the top, and I got dogs in 2 different places now. So I get in my truck and I drive out the mountain, I don't know, half a mile, and I start hollering for the one. But now the breeze is blowing, and anybody that's tried to call dogs off the top of the mountain when the wind's blowing, it's hard for them to hear you. And I catch myself again talking to myself like, patience. Just be patient. Long story short, both dogs end up backtracking themselves back out. And I try to take a positive from this. I'm like, okay, this is not how things are supposed to work. I cannot get off the north of the mountain. I've had 3 dumps today. And like it's been a blow up every time. But the positive is the dogs had enough sense. Instead of dropping off the mountain and causing me to drive an hour around because I was by myself, they did keep me from having a stroke. And they backtracked themselves back out. So I'm like, all right, it's still early. It's cool out. This is the best morning we've had to hunt. Time is on your side. So we're up in the 9 o'clock, maybe a little later. I drive around the mountain a good way, several miles. And I switched out dogs. I put 2 up that I haven't been using to rig. And lo and behold, here we go again. They open. I put them out. And they head down and they go off the mountain where it's manageable this time. I'm like, okay, let them go. Let them roll. And again, here we are, 200, 300 yards in. They start making some circles and right back to the truck. And at this point in time, the fire has to be coming out of my ears at this point. And at the same time, I'm be patient. Just be patient. So I made the executive decision that short of a bear running out in front of me and me hitting it with a truck, I'm not turning loose again today. I'd had all I could take. Don't know what happened. Don't know what was going on. Have no clue what kind of chaotic nonsense today brought. But for the 2 mornings prior, where I was smiling from ear to ear, driving back home, sipping my coffee, because my coffee hadn't even got cold yet. I paid for it today. And we have those days that we call train wrecks, or I call train wrecks. When is enough enough? Like after the second wreck, morning's still young, still opportunities, let's roll. After the third one, getting a little discouraged, was having to weigh the pros and the cons. And after the fourth one, I couldn't take it anymore. I was done, mentally done. And I had to go back to some of my canine training. And the reason I asked the question is, when is enough? Because in canine training, we get very frustrated when our dogs aren't performing the task that we ask them to do. My dogs absolutely know the task at hand. No questions asked. And they're fairly decent at it. Yes, I do have 2 young dogs. Young dogs wasn't the problem today. And I told myself that when you get to that point where you have fire coming out your ears, you got to stop before you make a mistake, before you make an overcorrection, before you do something that cost you a month to fix. And when I was standing on that rock looking over in the north, looking at the fog-covered valley that was so beautiful, I was telling myself during this period about that. I was like, okay, like if you keep getting frustrated, just stop. Just put them up, put them in the truck, and let's go home. But I give another opportunity. And that opportunity didn't pan out. And it was a cool day. I could have continued to hunt another hour. I could have hunted up to lunchtime easily, I feel like. But me talking to myself about patience and having patience and knowing when to stop so I don't make bad decisions or decisions out of anger or making a decision that's going to cost me a month or 2 months to fix because my patience were paper thin at best. And I'm telling you, at best. And during all that, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't beat and bang, jerk around. I just loaded dogs up. Now, I didn't give them any attention either. I wasn't petting and praising them. Wasn't even talking to them other than load up, call them by name and loading them up. Then I give them the water, so on and so forth. And I bring that up because we have days like that. And for me, they're few and far between. But the reality of it is, we have days like that. And hopefully, the day after tomorrow, when I get back out, I don't have another one of those days. Because if you start stacking days in a bad direction, it puts a bad taste in your mouth, right? So that was how my morning rolled. It was an absolute train wreck. Train wreck. Off the tracks, derailed, no good, no progress, horrible. But tomorrow's another day. So, got that out of the way. I hope everybody doesn't have days like that too often, because it is definitely trying. It is trying. I want to roll over to some of the questions I've gotten about my scent, imprinting and the tracking. So 2 different questions that I want to talk about. And I'm going to roll over them real quick. I had one listener ask about, they said that when they do the trails like I do, that basically their dogs they just want to keep their nose to the ground and trail. I don't know what type of dogs are running. It could be genetics. It could be the over use of the training philosophy, which is going to lead me to the second question, where another listener said that when they do it, their dogs seem to want to go backwards. And again, we're looking at, is genetics a part of it? The makeup, is this typical of that blood? I don't know. And I know that they have pretty good dogs. Like, we have mutual friends. I know they catch a lot of game. But I want to say with that,
that, guys, when I do the scent imprinting, yes, I do spend a lot of time on the implementation process. So break that down to the food with the scent pad. And a lot of people ask me where I got the scent pad. I basically got one of the pads from Tractor Supply that's got holes cut in it. Went to the thrift store, bought a bunch of yarn, cut the yarn in strips, like 4-inch strips, and it tied it onto it. Is all I did. That's all it is. It's just a made up pad. And I do spend a lot of time on the implementation of it. But on the drags itself, I only do it enough to get the dogs going from point A to point B. All right, well, break that down for me a little bit more in detail, Heath. The first couple of times is I want the dog to use his nose to go from point A, start, to point B, finish, and the reward system's there. Whatever you use, however you use it. I just use food. Most hounds are food hogs, and it's easy to do that. Not all, but most. So, and then as they get a little better with it, I'll add age and distance. But I'm not doing it every day. In fact, with Zeke, I haven't done it in a couple of weeks, actually, maybe 3 weeks. And this coming weekend, I've kind of got it on my little schedule to do a little bit longer, a little bit older track. The last one I did with him was like 40, 45 minutes. It was 60, 70 yards. And he smoked it. Now I do see him swinging wide on the turns, and he'll overrun the turn, and he'll make a little quick loop back and pick up where he was running it, and he slows himself down and figures it out. So I do know that I see him missing those turns. So I know when we get out in real life, and if he's running, he should make a pickup pretty quick. But I don't do these a lot. Like I said, once a week, twice a week in the beginning, and then after they get going, I do it just enough to keep them curious. I definitely do not overuse this method. It's just to get the dog using his natural instinct, nose, olfactory system, following a odor, and the odor is irrelevant. I use bear odor, but it's irrelevant. Whatever they will follow from point A to point B, right? It doesn't matter. So don't overuse it. Don't overdo it, and don't overthink it. A couple of times here, a couple of times there. I mean, he's 6 months old, and I've probably done it 5 times, 6 times maybe, over the course of his 6 months. I'll probably do it 8 or 10 times total, and then we're going to move into the real world. So don't overdo it. And that's what I would say on both of these is don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. It's just a process, and it's just a little fun game with the dogs to get them using their nose. That's all. They've already got the genetic ability, or should have. We're just kind of harnessing that into a little game. A couple of weeks ago, switching gears here, so stay on the train with me. A couple weeks, last week we had talked about trying to hunt in the evening some, and I did hunt a couple evenings. One of the things that I found very, very interesting was I went on a Saturday evening. The temperature was 76 and the humidity was 67. Not bad, right? It wasn't hot, it wasn't cool, but 67% humidity, 76 degrees, we're under that 80 threshold. We're okay. Well, the dogs struck, and they made a loop up the mountain, went out the mountain, dropped back off in front of us, which was like a mile or so back behind. And as the evening went on, you could tell the temperature was changing. You could feel it in the air. So an hour later, the dogs end up coming off the mountain. And when I get one of my dogs back, like as soon as she hits the ditch line in the road, she falls over. There's where we recognize heat. Are we having a heat stroke? Are we having heat exhaustion? What's the problem here? So it's just heat exhaustion. We put her in the front seat of the truck, turned the air conditioning on, got her cooled down, went up, made sure she had plenty of fluids. But here's the interesting part. So when I turned her loose, 76 degrees, 67% humidity. When I called her up and was able to get into service, a lot of the areas that we hunt, we don't have cell service. It was 66 degrees, 10 degrees difference, 89% humidity. The humidity had went up 22% during the time that she was running. And I started asking questions. Remember a couple podcasts ago when I said it's going to make me ask better questions? I asked, how? How does this happen? How does the humidity in a 2-hour period, and it could have been a little less than 2 hours, go from 67 to 89? So I started doing some research because I want to know. I want to know how this works. And I mean, I understand humidity. I get all that. But in a 2-hour period in the evening, how did it jump up so fast? So I started looking at the water. It talks about the water vapor in the air. And during the daylight hours, the air gets thinner, which allows the moisture, the water vapor in the air, to spread out. And then as it cools off in the evenings, and especially at night and early mornings, the water vapor gets denser. So here's how I would explain it to you. This is how I would explain it to me so I could understand. So in the mornings, let's say at nighttime, up through the nighttime into the mornings, that water vapor is poured into a 5-gallon bucket. So it's full. The 5-gallon bucket's full. Nowhere for it to go. 100% humidity. Everybody following? 5-gallon bucket is full. 100% humidity. But as the sun comes up and it warms the atmosphere and the air, you can feel the air getting thinner. If you really pay attention to it, you can feel the thickness of the air going away. So basically what happens from morning up into the evening, up in through the day, midday until the early evening, I've got a 10-gallon bucket or two 5-gallon buckets to fill that 5-gallon bucket up with water. So it spreads out. I can put 2.5 gallons in one and 2.5 gallons in the other. Humidity drops to 67%. And as the sun goes down and the evening starts to cool, the air starts to get thicker, I'm starting to dump the 1 5-gallon bucket back over in the original 5-gallon bucket. More moisture, it's crammed into a tighter atmosphere. The air gets thicker, humidity goes up. We were at 89%. And you're like, why are you talking about this? Why are we going over this? Because I want to know what is going on. Why did my dog fall out over an hour and a half? And let's just say an hour and a half, because that was probably more accurate. Because the water went up, the humidity, water vapor went up 22%. And when I turned her loose, it was fine. It was fine, fantastic. And I thought that was very interesting. And I had to come up with a way that I could visualize what I was telling you guys with the buckets. And then it started making sense to me. I understand that the heat during the day expands the molecules, expands the air. The lack of sunlight compresses it. That's the easiest way I can explain it. And even though the nighttime you don't have the temperatures, you don't have the 80, 85 degrees, 75 degrees. Once the sun goes down, that temperature starts to drop, but the humidity picks up. So it's kind of like, what's the worst of the two evils? the heat or the humidity. And both of them together are very dangerous. But every morning, and I'm keeping my data. Today, when I hunted today, it was 53 degrees this morning with 90% humidity. So the total was 143 points. That is the lowest point scale that we've had all August for me in my area. I don't know what you guys had. But I thought it was interesting. I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to figure things out. And I definitely want to know how it's affecting my dog throughout the day. And I know from running my police dogs all times during the day, like how they act and how it affects them. But it's easy because I got a leash on them, and when I see the dogs getting a little wobbly in the rear end, I can put them up, call it a day. With the dogs out running, we don't have that luxury, and a lot of times it's hard to cut them off, especially if they get into big country where you can't just get them. It becomes, to me, it becomes dangerous. So that's just some information and just some observations that I've made. And I'm going to leave you with this. So I'm hunting 2 litter mates. And again, today, well, actually, Saturday, I put some of my more of my canine knowledge to work, right? Dogs are completely different. I've got one. Remember how I talk about I want my police dogs in a calm state of mind? I want them calm and thinking, that a way they can perform the task quickly and get a hold of it. Well, I got 2 dogs on 2 ends. I got one on one side of the spectrum and one on the other. I got one that is calm. He comes out of the truck, uses his nose, does what he's supposed to do, and usually in the right place at the right time. And I've noticed that his litter mate can't shut his mouth. Comes out like a train wreck. And I've seen now, remember a couple weeks ago when I said the dogs went backwards? My old dog went backwards. It wasn't him, but the old dog went backwards. Well, the litter mate went with the old dog because he comes out of the truck, and when his feet hit the ground, his mouth don't shut up until he's 200-300 yards in there, and then he calms down. So I thought it was interesting one Saturday when I was kind of evaluating the situation, and he did the same thing. He come out of the truck and literally, of course, I guess I need to put this caveat in there so everybody's had a bear run out in the road and turn and run right back into the dogs, right? We've all had it happen. And if you're not careful when you pack dogs, they're going to take the backtrack. Absolutely. It happens. And that's kind of what he did. He left out of there hooray to rail, and he went on the backtrack, and he was like 500 yards before I could get him stopped and turned around and got him back where he needed to be. So I was thinking about it on the way home. I'm like the one dog does this and he does that. It's like, okay, what's the problem? I've got to work on him. I gotta cap his drive a little bit. And I know how to do it. And it's going to take me a little bit because he's very strong-willed. And that's one of the things we want when we have a good dog is we want a dog that's very strong-willed and like don't take no. Like I'm going to get with this. He has that personality, but I've got to cap him a little bit. I need him to come out a little. I need to back him up a couple. He can't come out in 6th gear. I need him in 2nd gear. I need to back him up a little bit. So I'm going to work on that. But it was just food for thought. Like how you got to litter genetically. These dogs are the same, supposed to be the same, but they're not. Like they're not. And the differences in the 2 dogs is, I want to say, astonishing. That's probably overkill, but it's a drastic difference. Like they've got a lot of the same traits, but the traits that are different is like vastly different. So hope you guys don't have a train wreck like me. And and we're going to get back after it here in a couple of days, and we'll keep you posted.
That's going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Creekside Chronicles. We appreciate you spending your time with us, whether you're in the truck, in the woods, or sitting by the creek just listening along. Thank you for walking this trail with us. And we got to say thank you to W Supply for hosting the podcast and supporting everything we do. Be sure to check them out and go to wsupply.com for all your hound hunting needs. Until next time, keep your dogs fed right, those leads tight, boots muddy, and we'll see you at the tree.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow, under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care, we're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate, there's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there, chasing daylight, chasing them bears.